Good morning. Thanks for joining to interview with me. I'm Phương Anh. I'm a final student at Banking Academy, and for my graduation thesis, I would like to invite you to help me answer some questions. Um, yeah, the first question. How have you adapted online environment during the COVID outbreak?
Well, the first thing I got to say is that we're trying to find as many simulations or virtual apps as possible because it's the nature of science that students got to do practicals along with the content knowledge. So that's a big thing. And I try to use some website to keep track of students' work at the same time. So it can be some quizzes or it can be some multiple choice tests. And it's also a school policy to reduce the assessment, so it's less pressure on the student. Usually when we are in-person learning, we're going to do one formative assessment following by a summative assessment. But with the online classes, we reduce the summative, so students only need to provide one formative assessment per unit.
Thanks for your answer. And what are differences in designing lessons for face-to-face and online teaching?
The challenges with online class is that it's hard to get all students engaged in one activity, and it's hard to make sure that they are all on the same page. And also it's not fun, and students often feel tired and they got distracted by everything else around. So I try to give them some small breaks in between. The lesson is 45 minutes, but we never stay on one spot for 45 minutes. So I try to design different activities that they can interact with each other, discussions, and to take the ownership of their learning, design their own presentation and share it in front of the class. So it's not something like, it's not a teacher-centered lesson, it's more like a student-centered lessons. And there's a rule that I only speak about 15 to 20% of the lesson time, and the rest of it will be student discussion, activities, and they'll figure it out themselves.
Oh, great. So could you tell me what strategies do you often use in online classes? Strategies.
It depends on what level grade is it. For example, if it's like grade 6 to 8, they're quite small and they are excited about some images, videos, interaction. So I try to include that as much as possible. But grade 11 and 12, they are more like independent learners and stuff. So also I'm quite familiar with the students right now, so I kind of know their personality and what they like. So I try to adapt different learning strategy. Depends on what student feel like is the best for them.
Yeah. And did you receive any support from the school during that transition?
Well, actually, everyone is kind of everyone has their own struggle. So well, we have some optional hanging out time between teachers during the meeting, but and also we try to reduce a few extra work, extra requirements from IB to give someone to give everybody a break. But that's pretty much it is because the school is like, even though we have online class or hybrid learning, like half online, half in person, it's just really up to the teachers how we design our learning resources and things like that. So it's really up to the teachers.
Oh yeah. So the last question I would like to ask you about what are differences between practical lessons in person and practical lessons on online teaching lessons?
Yeah. A big thing about that is that there are not many simulations, and because they are machines, so they are always perfect. There are no errors. there's nothing for student to improve because the machine is always perfect. So the simulation is just something to help students with the imagination how to set up the experiment, but it cannot be used to collect data and to analyze data from it. With the real experiment, of course, it will be much better when student has some hands-on activities. It helps with memorization, it helps with recalling the name of equipment and how to use it properly. And there's always some random errors, and they can provide different set of data using different trials, and they can write a lab report from it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the end of the interview. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.